Okay.
And also just on a personal note, I wanted to just thank you, for
I'll save it.
you know, it's really a great honor. It's to be able to have have a story, first of all, that the Lord gives you a story, but being able to have a part of the song to be able to tell about it. But you know I just, back in 1992, I mean, it was a long time ago, but I had not really had an experience yet with the Lord. I'd given my life to the Lord, but I had really not had a real experience with Him. And I'd heard different stories from different people, but just always wanting that experience, with the Lord, something special that I could be able to tell other people about. And when I was talking about that, my pastor had said, he says, I think that you being up logging with those guys up in Montana, he says, I think that one day you'll just be cutting a tree up, logging, whatever you're doing up there, and one day Jesus will just pop out and it's like, surprise, here I am, But I didn't know how that was going to happen. But yeah, I was on a logging crew in east of Hardin, Montana, and my thing at the time, it's like I would talk to the Lord, but I wasn't really listening to Him or expecting Him to talk to me. And a lot of times when I would go out walking and praying at night after we got done with work, I would take my 22 with me. And I called it walking and turkey praying. But it wasn't a wholehearted prayer, And there was a time that, after a couple months of that, nothing was happening. I mean, I was just up there working, and I took like a week off, it was actually a couple weeks off, and had another guy fill in for me. And when I went back to work, I decided, it's time to get serious. And I put away the 22. I didn't go walking with that anymore, but it was a heartfelt, Jesus, I want to know you in a way that I've never experienced you before. I want to know you personally. And I've heard other people talk about it, but that's what I want. And so I would just be doing my work. I was working at a landing zone where the guy had a D. Do you want to wait?
Airplanes are the crux of every video person. Yeah, wait a little bit.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll have you reiterate the prophecy one more time.
Yes.
Because didn't he say, like, Jesus is going to find you in the trees?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he says, yeah. He says, yep, that's what he said. He said, I believe that Jesus is going to find you.
Tell me that part again, and then just say, and I was up, it was a landing zone, or I was on a logging crew where the big rigs were swinging the trees around. Or
yeah.
You fill in that, I don't know.
You can tell me when you're ready. Okay. So yeah, he had said to me, I believe that when you're up in there working, when you're up doing your work, he said to me that I believe that Jesus is going to find you in one of those trees that you're cutting up. And I didn't know exactly how that was going to happen, but it's like, okay, I'll take that on faith. And so after that, it was just go to work and, you know, just not, I mean, I was just working, but I still had that expectation. And then one day, it was about 8 o'clock in the morning, early in the morning, I was working on the landing, and that's where the dozer had a grappling hook on the back of it, and he would haul the trees that the guys would fall, he would haul that to the landing zone, and my job was to limb up the trees, make it basically into a log, cut up all the limbs, cut it to length, a certain length, and then, you know, move on from there. And then he would come and grab those and then pull them and haul them away. So about 8 o'clock this one morning, it was early, and I had already gotten a couple trees done, and the dozer driver came up and grabbed one of them that I had just finished on, and I'm walking away from the log. It's a 33-foot log at this point, and I'm walking away, and he grabs it, and as he's starting to take it away, his grappler was locked. Usually it was on a free swivel, so that way he didn't just make like a giant baseball bat. Well, he forgot to do that. He forgot to unlock the grapple. The grapple hook came down. The grapple hook came down, locked on, and he started a turn right after that. And so right away, here's this 33-foot long baseball bat following him rigidly. Well, I just happened to be in the path of the end of that. It hit me in the thigh, knocked me over between two other logs. And as he's turning, I'm between the two logs, and it's coming up my back. It's like riding on top of my back. I'm between the two logs, and it's starting to, there's a lot of pressure there, and it's starting to get up towards, it rides up my back and onto my head. And as it was doing that, I had this thought, Jesus, is this how it ends? And at that very moment, it stopped, and I wriggled out from underneath and just bruised and bloodied up a little bit. Nothing broken, but I thought that was the end. And the guys came over and checked me out, make sure that nothing was broken or anything real wrong. And so they just said, hey, why don't you just go in the truck and just rest, you know. And so for the next 2 hours, I was sitting in the truck, and I was thinking about what a jerk that I had been to different people, especially my wife. And it's like the Lord was showing me my life, you know. And I realized that it was time. I mean, that I'm thankful that it happened, but I was crying for like the next 2 hours, thinking about just, Lord, I could have done this different, or I could have done that different. I could have treated this person differently. I was selfish here, you know, and just going over my life. And after a couple hours, the guys, it was time for lunch, and they asked me how I was doing, and it's like, I was doing okay, you know, but we weren't gonna do any more work the rest of the day. And we sat down at our camper, and we were eating lunch, and one of the guys says to me, he says, well, Tim, I think you found your tree, because he had known about the prophecy that had been given to me. And so it totally bore witness, and I knew that was Jesus was trying to get a hold of me. And so that night I went walking and praying. Really. And I had heard Gene say many times the prayer. And it's like, Lord, that's a great prayer. And I said the same prayer. I said, Jesus, all that I am today and all that I'll ever be, and wherever I go and whatever I do, I now commit my life into your hands. And, it was like for the first time, I just felt clean. I felt free. I felt I didn't have a care in this life. And so that's my little log story. So, one other thing. So we finished working the week. And drove home, got home, told my wife and everybody else what had happened. And by this time, my thigh was totally black and blue. I mean solid black and blue. Because I had gotten hit from a 33-foot long baseball bat, basically. And right in the middle of all of it looked like what was the letter S. It wasn't for Superman. But to me, what came to me was son. I felt like I had been branded a son. So just wanted to add that little bit.